We are going to be watching Bellyla's take on the Turtle WoW drama. This is a retail content creator primarily, so I want to see what his opinion on the whole lawsuit and drama is. Turtle WoW is a criminal front, so Blizzard invoked RICO. It's a hell of a title. Let's see what the man has to say.
The last time a private server was in the news, it was Nostalrius. Over 9 years ago now, they shut the private server down after receiving a cease and desist from Blizzard. That led to massive, widespread protest.
So I remember this when the Nostalrius drama happened and it first went through. At the time, I wasn't really interested in Classic, but I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Nostalrius sounds kind of cool. Maybe I'll try it. I never made time to try it out. I was just like, it's Nostalrius. Maybe eventually I'll try it. I was playing retail at the time, and I never did. Then they shut it down, and I was part of the boycotts to get into World of Warcraft. I was like, you know what? Fuck Blizzard. Fuck you, Blizzard. How dare you take Nostalrius down? I think I signed this petition. I think I signed it. I don't remember if I actually did, but this was 2016, I think, when this happened. But then anyways, I remember the public backlash in Nostalrius' shutdown. That was bad. The TWoW drama isn't as bad. The TWoW shutdown is nowhere near as big as a Nostalrius shutdown was. But it was still pretty goddamn, globally, TWoW's shutdown isn't global. Whereas Nostalrius' was.
And under that pressure, Blizzard were forced to act, and we got Classic as a direct result of that. This time though, it is completely different. It's a hell of a lot more dramatic too, and the target is Turtle WoW. In many ways, Turtle WoW is the Classic Plus that we've always dreamed of, and they're not shutting it down in response. Yeah, they're not. This is where the story gets interesting.
True, because Nostalrius, with a simple cease and desist, Nostalrius took the thing down, went and talked to Blizzard, gave their opinion and the information. Some of them even got employed to work at Blizzard. And that was that. This isn't a cease and desist to TWoW. This is a full-blown goddamn lawsuit, and Turtle WoW effectively put the middle finger up and said, hey Blizzard, suck my dick, I ain't doing shit. And they haven't. The servers are still up, everything is still up. They've even done posts in the Discord saying, we ain't going anywhere. Blizzard can go suck a colossal fucking dick. We're still gonna make our content. That's wild to me.
You see, the thing is, Blizzard didn't send a sternly worded letter. Blizzard sent a legal nuke. And I am not joking when I say that. Neither are they. They're invoking the RICO Act. This is a law that was initially designed to take down the mafia, the actual mafia. And in the process, they are revealing the public information of the people behind it. With one single line, they gave credence to a long-standing conspiracy of corruption in a secretive private server empire, one where people are making millions. An empire that Blizzard might know all about, but they need a legal angle of attack. It makes for a hell of a story, but hey, as a silver lining, I think this is kind of proof. Proof that Blizzard really does know what we want from Classic Plus.
I mean, they better. TWoW's over here showing all this content, so Blizzard has to have seen it. I know for a fact the Classic devs have seen it. I know for a fact several of the Classic devs have talked in different videos about the private servers. They've never said the private server by name, but they've talked in videos or in Discords about those private servers without saying the name, so they know about them. And this legal nuke, I hope once it goes through, they have something to drop and announce. But let's see what Bellyla's got to say.
If you only pay attention to retail WoW, you may not even know what Turtle WoW is, though you may have seen advertisements for it. Anyway, here's the short version. It is quite simply one of the most promising private servers in existence. Over the last 8 years, it headed down the route that I'd say most of us would want from a Classic Plus. They were actively developing the game, they had a team of over 100 members, and this meant new story content, new dungeons, new raids, new zones, all explicitly friendly with vanilla lore, all perfectly matching the Classic style. Take a look at this map for Dragon Maw Retreat, just for one example.
It's insane. They have, people don't know this, but they have, I think, about a dozen ex-official vanilla, Blizzard devs working on TWoW. So the artists they have, the renditions they make, the zones they make, the maps they design, everything feels phenomenal and flawless. I don't know how to describe the quality of the work, but keep in mind that when this Classic devs were making SOD with 10 devs, The TWoW devs had, I think, 75 employees at the time. That's wild to me. And no, Nugush, I know for a fact they have ex-Blizzard devs. I know they do. I've talked to several of them. They have ex-Blizzard devs working on TWoW.
Anyone could be convinced that this is a real classic dungeon. Even this orc staff is based on an old sketch from Chris Metzen. And looking at the Turtle WoW wiki starts to make you think you're kind of in a parallel world where things turned out differently. One where high elves are a playable alliance race, or where dungeons like BFD or RFK get extended in patches, going even deeper. And on top of all the actual content, the most common thing people would praise.
Chat, no, they do not have Pirate Software as a dev. And they don't have Pirate Software's dad either. No, he's not a second generation employee for Turtle WoW.
About Turtle is their anti-botting measures, said to actually work better than.
Galila's literally pulling out all the stops about this. TWoW has GMs, they have no botting or RMT, aside from, like, I guess technically there's been rumors of TWoW devs selling gold and stuff to people. So that could potentially be a thing there, but there's no real proof of it, but people have been saying that. So that is something to keep in mind. They do sell mounts, they do sell bags, they sell cosmetics and a bunch of other things, but they don't sell player power. And there's no WoW token or official gold buying that I'm aware of.
Blizzards. Now, emboldened by their ambition and success, they have been posting about their player counts.
Oh yeah, the Turtle WoW dev team, the Twitter team for Turtle WoW, oh, they were egregious. They were wild. The TWoW dev team was, well, the marketing guy was acting Blizzard, commenting on posts about World of Warcraft. A celebrity mentions WoW, TWoW's in the comments saying, yeah, but is it good? Like, they were poking the bear hard.
500,000 active players, 44,000 concurrent players. Those numbers are an absolute triumph, but chasing something that high has likely sealed their doom. You see, they've been hosting adverts on Google's ad services. They've been running social media campaigns. Last year, they posted a trailer showing off their work porting World of Warcraft to Unreal Engine 5. That was a trailer that Blizzard had taken down. They were literally snarking in Blizzard's replies, quite overtly poking the bear.
See, sorry for the confusion, Ali. Basically, you shouldn't need to worry about a false report, as any action that's taken is only done so after an investigation. If no violation is found, nothing happens, the report is dismissed. V. The heat got to the poor fella. Install air conditioning. The marketing guy is the one in the US as well. Yeah, the lead marketing guy is in the US. He's in Michigan.
So this then was only a matter of time, even if the people involved thought that they were invincible. On August 29th, Blizzard filed a lawsuit against Turtle WoW. Not a cease and desist. Nostalrius obeyed a cease and desist out of fear, but most small teams just sort of throw them out. This, though, is a lawsuit, and it's one of the most intense ones that I've seen in quite some time. Because of these...
The difference is the Nostalrius guys weren't multi-millionaires. Shenna, based on everything I know about her, or taught her as people know her, is a multi-millionaire. TWoW makes money hand over fist. This isn't Nostalrius money where they're barely making money. TWoW is making probably close to $500,000 to $1 million per month. They have money. They have 100 fucking devs. They're paying a lot of people. A lot of it's passion money. It's not a huge salary, but they have an obscene war chest. They have shell companies on shell companies. You can't bully TWoW because they're too big to be bullied. This is a giant. The best time to bully TWoW was 8 years ago, when they were a small team with less than 100 players. And passion money Nugish is where instead of paying somebody like a 100k salary, you're paying them a 15k salary or a 20k salary. So that's the difference between a passion money and like job money. Now they probably pay a bunch of people 100k. They definitely have people on big payrolls. But I don't think they're paying all 100 people working on TWoW 100k a year. If they were, that'd be wild.
Two things: participation in a RICO enterprise and engaging in a RICO conspiracy. As I said earlier, that is literally anti-mafia law. Blizzard are saying this isn't just a fan-made private server. They are calling Turtle, quote, a multinational business enterprise engaging in, quote, or...
To be fair, they have a Chinese server operating out of Hong Kong. They have a EU server operating out of the EU. There's no NA server. All NA players have to play on EU, and that operates out of the UK. They have a Latin America server. I don't know which country it is in Latin America, but they have a Latin America server or South America server. So they have 3 servers. So they are a global enterprise, and they make money hand over fist. They make so much content. It's insane.
Organized crime. How? Well, they allege they are, quote, operating a sophisticated and lucrative global enterprise that develops and sells software that the defendants know illegally infringes on Blizzard's trademarks and copyrights. That alone is not enough, though. They've also been, quote, authoring and distributing extensive US marketing campaigns and funding solicitations that tout pirated.
Medina got an offer to make a TWoW sponsored video, and Medina popped off on the guy because the guy offered him Latin American money despite his audience being all NA, and that was the funniest thing to me because like he's from Argentina, but his audience is all Americans and Europeans. He doesn't have a Latin American audience at all. And instead of offering him like a US sponsorship, they offered him a Latin American sponsorship, and he tweaked out saying, how dare you offer me less money just because I'm Latin American. It was funny. But he said no.
Content. Blizzard argues in the case that this is illegal racketeering. And legally speaking here, Turtle does not have a leg to stand on. Any fair use arguments fall apart when you're a 100-strong team, when you're raking in potentially millions of dollars in donations. Donations that I should add are essentially a loose cover for what is a cash shop. They do brazenly advertise in the United States using Blizzard's trademarks. And look, would they be running paid ads if they weren't going to see a return on that investment? The lawsuit makes claims about, quote, negative experiences tarnishing the Blizzard brand. They are provably right here. That's because Turtle has been hacked before, and this even led to the leaking of users' personal data.
I remember
Even
that's
if
true.
Their server core is based on an emulator that's...
Yeah, Nixium got sponsored, if I remember correctly. I think Nixium did a sponsored video, and and then Blizzard DMCA'd him, or like they striked the channel or the video, so he took it down. But if I remember correctly, Nixium did indeed do a sponsorship.
Supposedly has no real Blizzard code. That actually doesn't matter in this case. You can just download a full client from their site, and that client has all the WoW assets. Now, when I say they thought they were invincible, I meant it. If they have any hope of surviving, which they claim they will, they have one option. And in fairness, it's a fairly good one. It's relying on being outside of United States jurisdiction. America is not actually the world police. They can't be like, say, the cops from Cyberpunk 2077 that would just teleport right on top of you. The owner of Turtle WoW is Russian, which basically means they're, well, kind of immune. The servers are reportedly hosted in the United Kingdom, operated by a Kazakhstan entity. If legally hunted down, they would have to move somewhere, but there are many somewheres out there, so they otherwise will be fine.
They're pretty much
and they appear
fine.
quite confident that they can just hide from US intellectual property law. Blizzard knows that, and that is why Blizzard is using the RICO Act.
And the RICO Act means that a lot of the countries Blizzard has the US has contracts with, the UK, France, Kazakhstan, China, Hong Kong, Latin American countries. If the RICO Act is approved by the US government, because the US government has to approve it, right? Like Blizzard can try to push for it, but the US government has to approve it. And the US government approves it, all these countries the US has these laws with and these treaties with have to enforce it. Which is why they went to the RICO Act, because legally in the US, they don't operate in the US at all, aside from the marketing league in Michigan.
And that's where the other team members come in, because it could give them power. They might force American and European internet service providers to block access to Turtle servers, or to get their site taken down. As an example, their domain is hosted by Namecheap, which is an American company, so that's free game. Cloudflare as well. And the European defendants in this case are in genuine danger. They could face civil monetary damages, legal fees, and many more. And after touting 500,000 active players, Blizzard could do some serious finance.
Blizzard is saying $150,000 dollars in damages per user. So if we bring up the calculator, which is, let me bring up my phone, that would be 150,000 times 500,000. Blizzard wants 75 billion fucking dollars in damages. They're not getting 75 billion. Total WoW doesn't have 75 billion fucking dollars. That's more than Activision Blizzard King is worth as a whole company. But that's the damages they're pursuing. The guy in America is gonna have his wages garnished for the rest of his fucking life. The rest of his life.
Harm. They could ask for many millions. Even if it's the Russian and Kazakhstan elements that hold all the money, everybody else might catch personal liability and somewhat be ruined for life. Though of everyone, it's the Americans involved who are obviously in the most danger. And specifically, there's one, Escalating, who Blizzard calls the public face of Turtle WoW. And considering he's even been on a YouTube interview in that role speaking on behalf of the team, it is hard to deny. He's kind of Blizzard's in a way, because he is an American. The US courts have direct access to everything, not just money. You see, discovery in law is when you can force evidence out of the other party. Escalating could give up financial records, and that would give Blizzard a legal trail to follow. And of course, if you hide evidence from discovery, you're very much in a lot of trouble. Discord, for example, could be asked to hand over direct messages from everyone involved. That might actually be the plan. For years across Reddit and forums, there have been allegations of a private server empire with Shiana at its head. Apparently, even saying their name mutes you on Turtle's Discord server. And that's because people believe Torta, the Turtle WoW owner, is actually Shiana. But not just people.
It's super fucking funny that there's so much drama about the situation, and every single day, more and more things are coming out, and it's getting deeper and deeper and more grandiose and wild as a situation. Just cracks me up.
This lawsuit is also making that claim. This is the same Shiana who some people allege to take over private servers, then force in cash shops against the developer's will, and then, well, pockets the money. But not just that, as well as abusing power out of greed.
Exposing the private server scam empire Turtle, Elysium, Firestorm, Everlook. I always knew about Turtle, Shenna, Torta, WoW being related to Elysium, and them doing shady stuff and buying out, releasing several servers and building a private server empire in the past. Recently, Everlook's direction and ownership changed, and I once again saw the same patterns when Turtle WoW took over other private servers in the past. I decided to investigate more and gather some strong evidence of that the private server empire some people are running behind the scenes, and I got some interesting finds and evidence. Jump to the bottom if you want to see the most diving part with the payment section. Let's start with the recent Everlook update, which got my attention. The moment it was announced, I was expecting to be another Turtle buyout, because there are a lot of similarities. Hardcore mode, shop, usual ownership takeover, China server going vanilla plus. And I was right, they just released their cash shop and it has a Turtle WoW pattern. Dun dun dun.
Trade also alleged are doing things like selling maxed out characters or generating gold for gold sellers and taking a split of that. I'm not going to go any deeper on this side of things, but let me put it this way. This is allegedly a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise abusing the genuinely passionate developers of most private servers that you know. And this may be Blizzard dropping a stick of dynamite down that rabbit hole. Maybe to see what happens. Or maybe that's all nonsense. And maybe it's just Blizzard angrily trying to shut down a private server that is encroaching upon their business. Either way, though, Blizzard are definitely trying to break Turtle here. But given the Russia and Kazakhstan angle, well, their method is to break the people that they can legally access. Putting insane legal pressure on individual team members is going to cause team problems, and
one of these people is going to give information up. It could be the guy in Bulgaria, the guy in Michigan, the guy in Germany, the guy in the Netherlands, but somebody is absolutely going to give somebody up. I guarantee you on that front, somebody is going to sell out.
Discovery does mean a lot of data will get out. If Turtle survives, it will be without these people. It will be by putting its head down and working quietly in the shadows, like other servers do. Which raises a very big question. Why do Blizzard just not let private servers do their thing?
Official private servers, Balila, say it. Balila, say it from your chest. Let the world hear you talk about official private servers, please.
This has been the big talk of the town. Basically, people saying, look, the only WoW that I want, the only WoW that actually reflects what I want from that experience is over on those private servers. So what is the truth of things? Well, there are loads of private servers out there, and Blizzard mostly seem to let them stand. I mean, real talk, if Blizzard wanted to, there are loads of private servers that they could find and take down. And I've always wondered why they hadn't, because generally big companies tend to do that. What we do...
Well, in my opinion, the reason Blizzard doesn't take down a lot of private servers is because they use them for information. They scalp them for info, see what people want, and they potentially use some of that stuff in retail or classic. They've been known to take things and steal things from like other games all the time, so why would private servers be any different? And it keeps the WoW name and thought in people's mind. If you're a private server WoW player, at some point you might be willing to try a new classic game mode or a retail game mode out again. At least that's my opinion.
Examining the evidence, though, is that Blizzard tends to only take private servers down when they get big. Nostalrius got hit when it was reaching a fever pitch. Even ignoring a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise allegation, Turtle made itself Blizzard's problem by being as big as it was, but by being publicly big, by starting the ad campaigns, by publicizing the Unreal Engine 5 port, and trying to poach players from under WoW's nose. That's who those advertisements would have been targeted at. But in addition to that, we all know Blizzard are working on something like Classic Plus. They quite literally said as much when Season of Discovery ended, and it's been quite a while since then. That does make Turtle a genuine competitor to a business that Blizzard wants to run, based on their own intellectual property, copyrights, etc. And this is the frustrating part. They offered a great experience in Turtle. I mean, I look at some of the patch videos, I look at the stuff that they made, and I see the passion, I feel the passion, and that's damn exciting to me. So they offered a great experience. Obviously, though, they did know the risks. And even if, for the majority of players and developers, it's passion for World of Warcraft in its classic form, well, there was plenty of knowingly profiting from breaking the law going on. Even though, yes, they were filling a market niche that Blizzard was not filling. And the tricky part is that, well, that market need itself is reliant on the Warcraft IP.
And that's the problem, is that Classic Plus is more in demand than MOP, and any other version of WoW Classic combined has less demand than Classic Plus. Classic Plus is going to skyrocket in popularity as soon as it gets officially announced and released. The issue is it's so far out till BlizzCon next year that a lot of Classic players have been finding solace and a home in TWoW. And now here we are, and there is no alternative now. So that's why there's such a negativity towards it, is because TWoW offered people a solution to a hole Blizzard has left open, and now Blizzard is shutting it down and going so hard with this ginormous law case, this lawsuit, that it's led to this negative fever pitch the same way Nostalrius led to a massive negative aggressiveness in the community and the publicity.
Without Warcraft assets, Turtle wouldn't be Turtle. As an example, people want a new StarCraft. They might really want StarCraft 3. But that hasn't meant that they've went and bought Stormgate, which is quite literally a spiritual successor to StarCraft 2 made by StarCraft developers. No, people, in addition to game mechanics and stuff, they want the actual IP. They want the thing that makes the...
That's true. Had Stormgate been called StarCraft 3, Stormgate would have sold 10 extra copies, 100 extra copies. If TWoW was just another server, let's just say the Turtle MMO was its name with no Blizzard assets, it would have a 10th, if not a 58th of the player base it has now. It's the WoW IP that is the selling feature and the selling point of TWoW. So he's not wrong.
Them feel the way that IP makes them feel. The real McCoy. And I'm not just...
And that's the reason why I want Classic Plus so bad, is because as fun as retail is, and I've been a retail player recently, I've started playing Midnight WoW, I still want Classic Plus. If I had the option of Classic Plus, I don't think I'd be playing Midnight WoW. No matter how hype Midnight WoW is, I'm a Classic player at heart, but I don't have Classic Plus. I've just got TWoW and Epoch. So for a lot of people that are interested in Classic Plus, their options are literally TWoW. And a lot of Classic players, rather than play private servers, are just choosing to quit instead. Because a lot of people don't want to risk losing all the time and energy and effort they put into a private server in case they get taken down, especially with this lawsuit being as big as it is now.
Just saying that to defend a multi-billion-dollar company here. Absolutely not. This is a problem that Blizzard created by not making their own Classic Plus. And in the vast majority of cases, fan projects should be protected and supported. PC gaming is founded on a mostly healthy modding culture. Even outside of gaming, communities of fan fiction and fan art lead to experienced and skilled creators. But the challenge here is that this isn't just fan art for fan art's sake. It is a full development team, and it appears to be fully monetized, raking in millions from intellectual property that is not theirs. And with no idea of where that money is actually going. In an ideal world, maybe the Turtle devs could go legit. Maybe Blizzard could let them license the Warcraft IP, or work officially with a Classic Plus team. But that changes things. Because if that happens...
I wish they'd hire the TWoW dev team. Can you imagine having access to all 100 employees? A 100-employee dev team working on official Classic Plus with full Blizzard support and full Blizzard paychecks? Holy shit, that would be insane.
They would then become headcount under Microsoft. Are Microsoft really going to allow for something like that? And even if...
Yeah, after laying off down people, would they ever truly hire 100 new devs? I mean, the Classic dev team grew like 30 to 50 people, maybe even close to 60 people, so I'm not sure. Maybe developers is one thing, but like GMs and stuff like that, they'd get let go. That's also there as well.
They were, it would be different. It would be more expensive. It would be more structured. It would have all the problems of a large organization. It would become a job instead of a passion project, and all the motivations could change drastically. And that's the real struggle here. On one hand, if you do things officially, it's going to take a hell of a lot more work. On the other hand, you could do it quicker, not really asking for permission. You can make massive progress, and you can do that in the shadows and not be caught, but even still, it is dangerous because it invites the kinds of alleged corruption that we're talking about here. If they wanted to continue their project, well, they probably should have respected that and not brought in the monetization angles.
But without the monetization angles, how would they have paid for developers? How would they have paid for all the new content, all this expansion, all this extensions? The monetization, is which gave them a ginormous budget, is how they effectively got to where they are. They needed to rake in that much money to make that much content, to make the game world that popular and that big and extensive. But he's right, that's also what opened them up to this current lawsuit in the first place.
It's monetization via donations that are effectively a cash shop that, to me, just seems like it kind of seals the deal. And it's reasonable to think that if you didn't have the monetization angle, and you didn't have the boasting of huge player counts and the paid advertisements, that they might be able to do what every other private server does. Stay out of the limelight and just have it be a thing that their users play. You know, draw people over slowly, via word of mouth in DMs, not in big public places. To also take measures like removing visible Blizzard trademarks and offer client patches instead of full game client downloads. But mostly money, keeping money out of the picture, because money invites people who want money. And that very much includes Blizzard. Now, I'm not dooming here. There are plenty of private servers out there that are happy and healthy. There are ones that operate largely in the shadows, like, as an example, an ARPG-inspired solo progression server that I'm not going to name, but just point being, there's lots of different takes of what WoW is out there. There's a WoW server subreddit that's very well known and has been well known for years. There's the 4chan general thread that has a whole big list of them. If Blizzard
Belila being a Guna confirmed. Look at this shit.
The 4chan general thread.
That image has nothing to do with anything. Why is that image even there?
That has a whole big list of them. If Blizzard wanted to send out DMCAs, it would take one person a few hours to compile a list of names and web addresses. In fact, as far as we know, they do send them. It's just the Owners kind of ignore them, and that's that. Blizzard doesn't really follow up fully. Perhaps they don't feel they need to. Perhaps they feel the only ones that are a real risk are the ones that catch on, as Turtle did. So where does Blizzard go from here? Well, the obvious answer is that some version of Classic Plus is coming. They've
said as much at the end of the SOD. They literally said we're working on the next big Classic project, and they left it at that. So we're effectively waiting till the official Classic Plus, but they are working on it. It's just far out, which means in the meantime, Microsoft Money doing its hard work of pressing criminal charges against all the TWoW employees.
Hit Turtle to clear the way for that, to not have a competing World of Warcraft product, which, let's be real, is kind of their right. It is their IP at the end of the day. Though all we can do is wait for the inevitable announcement. At the latest, I would expect next BlizzCon, which would be in 2026. It may be earlier, just to address the people who are waiting, but either way, I just hope the people get what they want from a Classic Plus that is official from Blizzard, because at the very least, if it's official, well, you're not going to be playing it with fear that one day the servers could be taken down and your characters would be gone. I suppose what I can say for sure is that Blizzard absolutely sees the player demand. Blizzard absolutely has a profit motive. So these things are in alignment. They literally have a dev team that's pretty much said they're working on Classic Plus. It's just a matter of time till we see what Blizzard's vision is. And at the very least, I would hope that the genuine passion of Turtle developers and Turtle players could be a source of inspiration for those developers on the Blizzard team. You know, it's not a perfect situation, but there's absolutely going to be good lessons that can be taken from Turtle's existence. What do you think? Did you play Turtle? Did you want to play Turtle?
I hypothetically played Turtle. I hypothetically enjoyed it. I hypothetically think it's an amazing Classic Plus, hypothetically.
Turtle, but we're spooked out by the idea it could be taken down.
Yes.
What do you think is going to happen next?
It's
I'd
going to
love
get
to
taken
hear.
down.
And if you're a player as jaded by the Shadowlands as I am, you might be happy to know that there's been retcons and things that, well, basically do try to take away a lot of the real bad shit from Shadowlands. If you want to learn about that, check out this video next.
It's interesting to see where WoW is going, because Belila is correct. Like, retail is fixing a lot of problems. Classic WoW is kind of in a weird state where Classic Plus is officially, well, unofficially confirmed, but we have no information. So the future of WoW looks bright. The future of retail is bright. The future of Classic is bright. But the meantime of Classic is not great. The meantime of Classic WoW is kind of cooked. Look at this. Zaryu. This is Solheim. I know there's like a dozen other people that reacted to this and talking about, like, S-Fan made a video. My boy Teller's got his videos. There's so many videos talking about, like, the TWoW drama and all the things that's happened, that it's absolutely insane. And, like, how incredibly public it is, the demand for Classic Plus now. But it's still a whiles out, and that sucks. But at least it's coming, chat. So there is that to look forward to. But there'll be a link to Balila's video in the description down below. Go take a look at it. Go check it out. If you guys like this reaction, like and subscribe. If you hate it, dislike and subscribe. It's a second channel video. It is what it is. Thank you all for watching. I've been hard out. Peace.